Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, that means you. I am your host, Najah Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery. Today is February the 6th. It's a Monday, and what a great day it is. And we have two Cryptopians whose birthdays are today. We have a listener by the name of Dawood L. and Miss Dramaganza. And so I just want to say happy birthday to both of you. I hope that your day is filled with lots of love and joy today. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the second week of Black Futures Month. And there are some incredible individuals that we have been honoring this month because we are on a mission to share with the world that Black people know about Bitcoin too. And so over the weekend, we actually honored two individuals, which I would like to share with you this particular day. The first gentleman, his name is Black Regal. Some of you may know him if you follow me. He's been on tour with me. He is the person that has lit the fire under my feet about self sovereignty in the food space. Now, this gentleman regularly calls me and says, hey, you know that they're not paying for farmers to help them farm, but rather helping them by paying them not to farm. And so he talks about all of the different shortages that are coming up in our food supply chain. He is responsible for my little garden that I have started growing. And I'm so happy that I started growing vegetables in my very own yard so that I can be self sovereign with my food. He was the first person I heard coin the phrase that a convenience store is exactly for that, a convenience. It is not meant or should not be relied upon to feed your family. And so, as we're talking about Bitcoin and money and cryptocurrency and being self sovereign in our economic structure, we definitely have added the self sovereignty in our food strategy to what we're doing as well. In fact, he was instrumental in my thought about filming this new little show that we're doing calling Cooking with Crypto. And so we are cooking with crypto. As I stated, my grandfather used to always, as a mechanic, when he got done fixing somebody's car and he took it for a test drive, he would say, all right, we're cooking with Crisco. And so I just thought it was great that we could do something called Cooking with Crypto and talk about self-sovereignty in our money and self-sovereignty in our food. And so you'll hear more from Black Regal as we all learn how to freeze dry food. In fact, when I was in Houston last month, he and his wife gave me a bag of turkey and dressing that had been freeze dried. And it's good. The shelf life is about 5 years. And I think that's a great thing. We need to all learn how to do that because we have no idea what is going on or what is going to happen. As you all know, there's just so many interesting things that are embarking upon our nation, our communities every single day. It's just something always. And so the other gentleman that we honored this weekend, his name is Frederick Barber. He is a 22-year veteran for our United States Army, and he handled logistics. And this gentleman actually handled the logistics for my Digital Financial Revolution tour. I figured if he was moving millions of troops from different countries through the United States and everywhere else, that he could definitely move our little 19 people across this United States as we educated everyone on cryptocurrency. And so Fred Barber did exactly that, and he was our Bitcoin beginner speaker during our tour, along with being our tour director. And he was absolutely phenomenal. He's a father, a husband, and just a really great all around individual. And he retired from the military, and we're happy to have him really reaching out and making sure that he's educating the community on Bitcoin. And his aunt is one of the higher up individuals in the AKAs. And he's been working with the AKA sorority to actually get them educated and getting them the information that they need. And so we honor them this Black Futures Month again, because Black people know Bitcoin too. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, when we return, we will jump into the cryptocurrency conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Love that commercial. That was bomb. That was fire. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So we are getting ready to jump back into our cryptocurrency conversation. Just bear with me for a few minutes. All right, we will be back in just about 30 seconds. So please bear with me today as I go through and get our information. We're going to talk about scammers today. So please hold and got to make sure you are in the know. All right, 10 seconds. We will be back. Hey, Hugh. Hey, hey, hey. All right, welcome forward. So, we're going to do a couple of things on the cryptocurrency space section. We're just going to do our quote really quick. And this is surprisingly from a former chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank. And he says virtual currencies may hold long term promise, particularly if the innovations promote a faster, more secure, and more payment system. And so I'm happy to see that quote that just popped up. And so, the Federal Reserve chairmans and everybody around that space has been very opposed to the cryptocurrency space. So I was surprised to see that quote come up today. And so we're going to just make sure we continue to understand that we are in a long game. We're not doing anything short term. We are doing long term things. And so I have gotten a lot of calls this weekend, the end of last week, ladies and gentlemen, as it relates to scammers and what we need to know about scams and scammers. So I need to be very clear with our community. We don't have time to waste. We don't have money to lose. We do not at all want to even be taking time to entertain individuals that are scammers. And so I cannot say to you how critically important it is that you don't even engage with individuals that you do not know in this space. I'm going to tell you this. As a seller of Bitcoin and as a buyer of Bitcoin, I have literally had at least 6 or 7 times in the very beginning of my selling Bitcoin and setting up my cryptocurrency exchange where we had calls with individuals. We even had Zoom calls, which means I see someone on the screen and they would tell me these long stories about their uncle or their aunt being in the hospital and they have this money and they can't access the money right now, but they've gotten access and they want to wire us the funds, but they want to make sure that we're going to send them the Bitcoin. And these conversations started coming fast and furious, and they would spend sometimes months courting us, meaning trying to gain our trust, get us in a position where we were vulnerable or we believed their stories or how they were trying to scam us. And so at first, the first couple of times we were having these lengthy conversations with individuals via cell phone or even on Zooms. We just really felt like they were authentic because they had invested so much time into sending us identification and all these different things. And soon I started to see that a lot of these deals were not going anywhere. And I was trying to really wrap my mind around how someone can spend sometimes 40, 80, 180 hours trying to scam someone. And I realized that if these gentlemen and women are sitting at home and they're in these different countries, and if they can just land one person that they scammed, maybe even if it's $1,500 that they scammed out of your pocket, that literally will take care of them for a year. So they have the time, they have the energy, and they really have the know how to say exactly what they need to say to you to gain your trust, to extract money out of your bank account. So, first and foremost, I need everyone to know if you're following me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I will never get into your DM, that's your direct message, and ask you to trade with me. I just am not. And it really hurts my heart when I hear that someone is being scammed by someone pretending as if they are me. But, ladies and gentlemen, scammers are getting a little bit better than that. If you are, let's just say, buying things on Amazon, you may even get a text message from Amazon, so you think that states that your account has been compromised. When you go to start clicking those links, they actually gain access to your cell phone and you can be scammed that way. I have asked in the past that as you all learn about this cryptocurrency space, there are certain things you should not be doing. You should not be clicking on any links that you do not know who is actually behind it, because it may look like Amazon, but it's not Amazon. It may look like AT&T, your cell phone carrier, is asking you to verify something on your account. You really need to take heed. Do not click those links. Call those entities yourself or get in contact with them yourself, and you will soon find that a lot of those things are scams. It's kind of like the Social Security call that most of us get, telling us that our Social Security numbers have been compromised and we need to contact the Social Security Administration, or we can press 2 and we can speak with a representative. All of those things are scams, and they're scams in the old money space as well as this new cryptocurrency space. But I want to make sure that our community has the best information. And it's really hard to decipher who's real and who's not. So, what I'm saying to each and every one of you is always err on the side of caution. Do not give out your information. These new QR codes with these new digital cards that everybody is getting into, and we feel like we're doing something in the technology space by actually having a business card that is scannable on our cell phone. That is an absolute no-no, because your information from your cell phone can actually be extracted by someone scanning your cell phone, which is why when my husband and I go to any cryptocurrency event, or even an event where people may know us as the individuals who have or sell cryptocurrency or talk about it, we keep our cell phones in these special bags that you can order that keep individuals from scanning our cell phones. Why is that? Because even if we have $100 worth of Bitcoin in one of our warm wallets on our cell phone, we don't want anyone to have access to that. And so you don't want anyone to scan your phone. So I know that those cards are cute and you feel like you're in the technology space and you're doing some big things, but with big things come big responsibilities. And I'm asking you all, please do not let people scan your cell phone, and you don't scan their cell phones either for anything, because it is quite dangerous. And we don't think of these things because you think it's harmless to have a card that people can scan and they can pull up your LinkedIn and all of those things. But a lot of that it all leads to a scammer getting access to all of your information, and not just your cryptocurrency information. I've literally seen people get their cell phones scanned and later on lose access to their banking information as well. And someone takes control of your cell phone and they actually can go into your banking app and move money because you have opened up yourself to these individuals, to these scams. So, how to avoid these cryptocurrency scams? Scammers are always finding new ways to steal your money using cryptocurrency. And again, I say they do this in both spaces, but this space is going to really pick up with scammers. And why is that? Because they understand that today's value is not what the value is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And so you want to steer clear of crypto cons. And so there's a lot of things to know. One of the first things is only scammers demand payment in cryptocurrency. So no legitimate business is going to demand that you send them cryptocurrency in advance. Not to buy something and not to protect your money, that's always a scam. And so you got to know that. Only scammers will guarantee profits or big returns. Now, there are some companies out there that are offering or are giving some rates of returns, but what they do not do is use the word guarantee. As soon as you hear the word guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, you need to run the opposite direction. Big returns are another thing that will let you know that this is too good to be true. Because if it seems too good to be true, most of the time it is. So don't trust people who promise you that they can quickly and easily make money in the cryptocurrency markets. And I hate to say this because this doesn't apply to everyone, but a lot of people that I have seen getting scammed in the last couple of months, it's because they're greedy. They may make a little bit in the space, and a little bit is not good enough. So they go to find something that's going to make them a massive amount of returns, because maybe they want to pay off their house, or maybe they want to, they want to buy a new car, or they want to fix up that motorcycle or something of that sort. And so they decide to take a chance on something that they know they shouldn't do it. Even when their gut tells them they shouldn't, they go ahead and do it. In fact, I've even had people call me in the last week and say, hey, what do you think about this opportunity? And I have said, I don't think it's a good idea. But because greed sits in, and it sets in really quickly with a lot of people, they do it anyway, and then they wind up losing funds. And just last week, I know an individual who unfortunately lost about $22,000. We do not have time in our community to lose money. And so we have got to take the slow and steady for sure route. And that's the path that I like to continue to keep our community on. Never mix online dating and investment advice. Why am I saying this? Because if you meet someone on a dating site or an app, and they want to show you how to invest cryptocurrency, or they ask you to send them cryptocurrency, 9 times out of 10, it's a scam. They're catfishing you, and it happens, ladies and gentlemen. I try to be very discreet with a lot of things that happen, but we have seen in the past through our exchange a couple of individuals that were in a dating situation and thought that they had found someone that was the person of their dreams. And they were coming in to us to buy Bitcoin to send to these individuals, or this individual or two. And we let them know we really feel as though you're getting scammed. And these individuals, I don't know what they're being told on the other end of this computer, but they are just absolutely incredibly fixated on sending cryptocurrency to individuals. In fact, as bad as this sounds, we had an elderly lady. She wasn't old. I shouldn't say elderly, but she was in her late 60s, and she was sending cryptocurrency to Chris Brown. She literally was sending this Bitcoin almost every other week. And we got to a point where I got to a point from the beginning, because I always speak my mind. I said, are you sure this is Chris Brown? She's showing me these pictures on her cell phone, and he's sending her stuff in the middle of the night. She's talking to him on the phone. And there are apparatuses that you can attach to your cell phone that changes your voice to mimic any number of people. And so I tried to share this information with her over and over and over again. And I had gotten to the point where I told her, you know what? I don't even feel ethically right helping you get this Bitcoin, because I don't think that you're sending Bitcoin to Chris Brown, which I know she wasn't, but I had to treat her gingerly. And she literally told me, if you don't sell it to me, I'm going to get it from somewhere else. And I'm going to be meeting people in the back alley to buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrency because he needs my help, et cetera, et cetera. And I really got to a point where we were continuing to service her, because I didn't want her to get in a precarious situation where she got hurt by trying to trade Bitcoin in a back alley to somebody else that was a scammer. And I think eventually her family was able to step in and convince her that she wasn't talking to Chris Brown, and she was very intelligent. This was a nurse. She was still working as a nurse. She didn't have any type of ailments or any type of dementia. She just was convinced of who she was talking to. And ladies and gentlemen, these scammers do a great job with some of these tactics that they have going on. And I'm not saying this because I've experienced these things. I just am telling you this because they do a fabulous job making sure that you trust them, and they make lots of money and they make you feel as though you have zero risks. I will say this, I have even seen scammers take someone's $1,500, get them a return on the $1,500, because when they get you a return on the $1,500, they know next time you're going to send 3,000, or maybe you'll send 5,000. And now they not only have the 1,500 you sent the first time, then they have the return that they sent you, and now they take it all and they're winning again. And so you've got to be very careful as to who you talk to and who you get involved with on these social media platforms, as well as on your cell phone or your computer. And so if somebody out of the blue says that they're an investment manager, beware. There are multiple different ways that scammers show up. And the biggest one that I see is that they show some sort of love interest in you. And I see that all the time. So, ladies and gentlemen, beware of scammers. When we come back after sports, traffic, and news, we will jump into the market update and we will find out what's going on today in the cryptocurrency space. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right. All right. I'm glad you like that, Hugh. What is going on, my friend? We are going to jump into the market report. Let's see here. Wonder if I have time. Let's see. How to report cryptocurrency scams. I am pulling that up real quick. Continue that conversation. Bitcoin is at 22,000. Went down since we just started, but it's okay. Let's see. All right, we will be getting started in just a second. Thank you, sir. Back in 30 seconds. All right, welcome forward. So, we're going to jump into our market report, but I really wanted to make sure that everyone is in the know about scamming. If you are scammed in any shape, form, or fashion, the first thing that you need to do is contact your local police department. They will then refer you to an FBI unit if that is needed, but they will be able to track the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, whatever it is that was taken from you to really try and get it back. And there's a long road to getting that done, but the first step is actually not being embarrassed because it has happened to so many individuals, and really just take the initiative to share that information with your local officials. And what that does is it really helps them start to get ready, if they haven't already, with getting in contact with those individuals that are able to track things on the blockchain. And so most of our law enforcement agencies are now starting to learn more and more about how to track things on the blockchain. And early on in 2017, we used to do these continued education courses for police officers to really help them understand their detective, not necessarily the police officers that are on their beat, but this was more of the investigators for different companies like Visa, MasterCard. I've done just several of those just to try to help them understand the cryptocurrency space. And that was early, but it looks like everyone is starting to really get in place because this is the new money. This is going to be what takes off. And so when people are realizing where we're going, it doesn't hurt them to try to stack as much as possible because they have nothing to lose. So please report it if something has happened to you. Again, I will never be in your inbox asking you for anything. And so, as we get into the prices today, and we are on coin market cap, we are pushing $1.1 trillion in this cryptocurrency space in the last couple of weeks. I'm just excited about the amount of monies that are coming back into the cryptocurrency space. And I've been listening to some folks on CNN, CNBC. I've been taking a look at the stock market. I've been paying attention to where the money is coming from that is holding up the stock market. And I just feel it in my bones that we are in some trouble. I'm not talking about even the recession. I'm just talking about how long we can sustain this bull run with stocks when there is just so much turmoil going on. I just have to say this really quick because I probably got myself in some trouble on Twitter. They were complaining about the Chinese spy balloon that was flying over the United States, and I said, because I've shared with you all that a lot of the properties that we were looking at in 2022 to purchase were owned by Chinese nationals, individuals that they had to go to the Chinese consulate and get notary signatures and things like that because they lived in China, but they owned property right here in Southern California. And so I made the joke that they weren't actually it wasn't a spy balloon that was floating over the United States. Rather, they were just checking on their real estate. And so I got a whole bunch of laughs from the cryptocurrency community because everybody knows whatever state they're in, there are a lot of Chinese nationals that are buying property. And so a lot of them are also buying Bitcoin specifically. And so a lot of people don't know that either. And so while they're in the real estate business, they are definitely big in the Bitcoin space. And so as we move into this new era, and they own the real estate in the United States, they're also going to own the Bitcoin in the world. And they are very opportunistic, as you know. And so I am looking to see what everyone is doing to see how we need to be gauging our buying and stacking of Bitcoin as we move forward, just like we need to be buying real estate as well and boxing folks out and making sure we have our fair share. So, as I look at Bitcoin and I'm finding out what's happening, and you'll hear in just a second that Bitcoin is dominating this cryptocurrency market. And so, for those who always ask me, is that all you do is Bitcoin? I am paying attention to what matters. I'm not getting sidetracked. I am not getting bamboozled. I am not biting into the hype about these other cryptocurrencies. I don't care what Shiba Inu is doing or any of these other things. I'll watch them and we'll have a conversation. And I'm trying to figure out why in the world the price is going up and people are buying it. But for the most part, I want the asset that everyone is banking on will be the next world currency, not just the United States. We're talking about a world currency, and that's Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $22,984. It's down in the last hour, 0.10%. In the last 24 hours, it's up 0.32%. And in the last 7 days, it's up 0.84%. And the market cap right now is $443 billion that is in this Bitcoin space. And so I'm going to go over Ethereum and then I'm going to tell you something that is very interesting. And this is what I usually watch in making sure that my portfolio mimics this cryptocurrency space the way that it needs to. Meaning, we have different buckets of investments. Again, I'm not saying go all in on cryptocurrency, but you do your real estate, you do your insurance, you do your investments, you do all of those things. You use everything that you can to leverage in these times. But when you get in this cryptocurrency space, you definitely need to diversify within this space as well. And so some people choose to do things like Ethereum. Ethereum is at $1,642. It is down in the last hour, 0.23%. In the last 24 hours, it's up 1.3%. And in the last 7 days, it's up 5.4%. Ethereum is doing its thing. And as I look at all these other coins, they're doing the exact same thing as Bitcoin. Everything is mirroring Bitcoin with the exception of Shiba Inu. I do not know and understand why it is up in the last 7 days, 26.15%, because you all know, because I've shared with you that Shiba Inu was there to extract funds out of your account and take advantage of those of you that thought it was too late to do Dogecoin. You jumped into Shiba Inu early so that as it rose in price, hopefully what you were thinking was that it was going to do exactly what Dogecoin did or even Bitcoin. And so people are in this coin. I have no idea why. Again, to each his own. We're all grown folks doing what we need to do to sustain and make sure that we are making the most of our investments and getting returns. And so that's what folks are doing. And the price is up with that. But what I need you to know is Bitcoin is actually dominating as the primary focus for digital asset investors. And this was a report that actually came out today. The European cryptocurrency investment firm, which is called CoinShares, published a digital asset funds flow report today, and it revealed that investors are showing a strong interest in the digital asset investment products. With inflows in the last week, ladies and gentlemen, of $76 million in 1 week, marking the fourth consecutive week of inflows. And again, all this while they're spreading this fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We call it FUD, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And the report actually indicates that there is a change in investor sentiments. And it started in, of course, the beginning of this year, which we're still in 2023, with the year to date inflows now from January 1st to today. $230 million has come in for the Bitcoin space. And so I ask you, have you been doing your $6 a day? Is your $6 part of that $230 million? Investors that are starting to think smart, investors that are seeing banks do things that they've never done in the past, have begun to get a little bit shaky in their faith in the regular banking system, and people are starting to get on the sidelines. And I talked about this last year, but they're getting on the sidelines trying to really figure out what's going on and starting to trust this digital currency more than they're trusting their own financial advisors and several other things. So this growth has led to an increase in total assets under management, which now stands at about $30.3 billion, the highest that we've seen in a while. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we will continue this cryptocurrency conversation because we have a couple of questions that I need to answer. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right. Mm. All right, welcome forward. This portion of our show is called Ask Najah Roberts. And I have a couple of questions that'll come through, and I don't know which one to do today. So we're going to just really tackle one of the pressing questions because in our community, as spenders, as number one consumers in the United States, with Latinx coming close behind us, we always want to know how to spend our Bitcoin. So if someone is buying Bitcoin from me or someone is interested in this Bitcoin space, one of the first things they ask is, where can I spend it? How or why or where can I buy and sell and use this thing called Bitcoin? And so the question was, is this really used by people? Because they feel as though I'm saying buy it and hold it, and we're not being pressed to utilize our Bitcoin. I'm not pressing anyone to use their Bitcoin. In fact, I shared last week that I used my Bitcoin to purchase some Delta airline tickets, but it's not my preference because I am really trying to stack my Satoshis. And so, yes, there are a growing number of businesses and individuals that are using Bitcoin. And a lot of people that are in the Bitcoin space, they really feel as though Bitcoin has to be spent in order for there to be some velocity. That's our word, which means Bitcoin is being bought, sold, traded, doing all these things. That's the velocity. And so any coin that you get involved in this cryptocurrency space, you need to make sure that there is some velocity. So there's absolutely velocity in the Bitcoin space. There are a lot of brick and mortar businesses like restaurants, apartments, law firms, tax firms that will accept Bitcoin. There's a lot of online stores that will accept Bitcoin. It is really being used. It's not being used by me so much, and I'm not trying to get our community into spending their Bitcoin because I almost feel like Bitcoin is our insurance policy. You know how you buy a term insurance policy and you've heard of the horror stories where people have paid on term insurance for years and years and years, and then their term insurance is over, and when they need that insurance the most, unfortunately they pass away and they don't have that term insurance. I really feel like Bitcoin is a whole life insurance policy, and those of us that sell it prematurely are going to really pay the price when we need it the most. And so I am asking that as I talk about this and as people continue to ask me, is Bitcoin really being used by people? Just know yes. Everywhere that you go, you can ask. People will accept Bitcoin. In fact, I have business owners that are asking me how they can accept Bitcoin in their different barber shops and smoke shops and things of that sort. And all it takes is a QR code that you can have on the counter, and somebody can come by and they can pay you with Bitcoin. So, what are the pros of what are the advantages of people accepting Bitcoin, and why are they starting to accept Bitcoin more and more? Because it's payment freedom. It's possible to send and receive Bitcoin anywhere in the world at any time. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday, it doesn't matter if there's a border, there is no bureaucracy. Bitcoin allows users full control of their money. So, ironically, there are a lot of immigrants that are needing to send money back home, and most of them have began to figure out that Bitcoin is a way to do that. You can choose your own fees. There are no fees to receive Bitcoin, but those of us that are sending Bitcoin out, we can pick a higher fee if we wanted to go faster, or if we just wanted to go normal, we just pay the regular processing fee. Now that fee goes to Bitcoin miners, and so that is it. We can choose our fees. There's fewer risks for the merchants. I don't know if you all are aware of something called a chargeback. But if you are a merchant and you accept Bitcoin as a transaction, there are no chargebacks. Nobody can wait 60 days and say, hey, I never shopped at that store. I never bought that, because it is irreversible. You do not have to have your customers' sensitive or personal information. A lot of times when we go to the register right now, they're asking us for our cell phone number, and they use those cell phone numbers to shoot out different ads and things of that sort. But if you're doing Bitcoin transactions, you don't have to give anybody your personal information. In fact, you don't even have to scan a card. And for those of you that don't know, every time you scan your card in one of these grocery stores or in the mall, all of your personal information is being disseminated to these organizations, and data is the biggest selling point. And I learned something over the weekend about how to find out who's selling my information, because every time I look up, I see my information or an email from some company that I never have patronized before. And so I just learned a really quick secret or tip about how to find out who's selling your information, and it's illegal to do so, and you can go back and sue them. And but they do know that most of us don't know how to actually identify how someone got our information. And so what they suggested is that if you sign up for any email list or any type of list, you put your first name and the name of the company that you are actually registering with. So my name would be Najah Macy's. And what would happen is when I get that email, it will say, hello, Najah Macy's. And then I knew Macy's sold my information for a profit, and I could go back and actually sue them. And I thought that was a great it's a good hack, but it's a good hack that you can utilize moving forward to make sure that you know who's selling your information and make them and hold them accountable for it. But using Bitcoin, you don't need to give any personal information. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we will jump into our daily dollar cost average. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All righty. Knock this last little minute out. All right, welcome forward. Everyone, it's time for us to dollar cost average. As you know, every day live on the air, I buy $6 worth of Satoshis. A Satoshi is the smallest increment of a Bitcoin, and we do it on the Black Wall Street wallet. And I say a DCA a day keeps poverty away. So let's open up our Black Wall Street wallet, click on the purple circle in the middle with the two arrows, click buy Bitcoin, and I'm going to put it in my KBLA Talk 1580 wallet. I'm going to click on this $6 one time. That's all it takes. But you can also set this up and forget it. And you can continue to buy Satoshis on your own. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you do not touch that dial. Next up is the DL Hughley Show. I want to thank each and every one of you for rocking with me, your host, Najah Roberts, on Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires one day at a time, one family at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, that means you.
Hey, You're listening to Najah Roberts on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. Please follow her on all social media platforms at Najah Roberts. No underscores, no dots, no numbers, just Najah Roberts. Let's close the wealth gap. It's our turn. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Learn or get left behind. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve.